there's some things to say. And for me, it's just about maybe saying them or not saying them. It doesn't really matter. And then you say it or you don't say it. Wow, flashy beard. So, definitely something important. It's strange. Is to remember always. Like, what did you set out to do? Right? So, what was the original plan? What was the original plan? And then you can, of course, say, why is that important? Well, I would say it's important because if you forget what you set out to do and you let outside circumstances hinder you in accomplishing your goal. Now this one we did already, if you can remember, and I'm just going to leave it like that. Not because I'm lazy, but just because. Now this image is of course a fine example of allowing change to happen. Because if you had a look on my previous images, and if you watched the video where I actually made this one, well, that's cardamom for you. You realize that it was somehow strange for me to paint this. And the reason why it was strange for me was quite simple. Right, so I first made these lines, right? First this one, and I thought it's a mouth, and I thought, you know, then surely this must be yeah. I'll just leave it like this. And then surely I thought, right, like, then I thought it was a trunk. And then I thought it was eyes. And then I could already see that it was actually flowers. But I had a bit of trouble of admitting that to myself. So I already could see, my foresight was telling me, this is supposed to be flowers. But also, a part of me was struggling against it. A part of me was like really struggling against it. And that's the part that, you know, doesn't like happiness and doesn't like reaching goals. And that's the part that doesn't really like change, because change is something that's somewhat uncomfortable. And so it is then up to me to align my current purpose with what needs to be done. So, for example, now there were so many things which I would have rather done than to continue with these videos. And now you may consider that strange because, I mean, just some time ago I was talking about, you know, how awesome making videos is now. And I really was basically boasting about it. Oh, you know, I really started to like it. But now I'm getting impatient again, right? And now I get the feeling, oh, I've already done so much. You know, why not stop now, right? Why not stop now? And do something else instead. It's like you're reading a book and at some point you're getting kind of bored with it. And then you think, well, might as well end it now. Or might as well read another book now. Well, have you tried, like, this is something you can train actually. Interesting that I'm talking about this now. How do you train that? Well, for instance, you are reading a book, right? You are reading a book, and in the middle of the book, let's say you're reading The Lord of the Rings, or maybe you're reading one of my books. Hey, I mean, it's possible. And somewhere in the middle you feel really bored with it. And then usually with me it would set it aside. I would set it aside. Because I thought, nah, don't feel like it anymore. But this is also how I used to work always, right? Suddenly I don't feel like it anymore, so I just stop. And then I do something else. So I get bored with it. But the truth is probably more that, you know, I don't get bored with it, but, you know, it starts to become a bit difficult. Because I'm struggling against reading through it. I'm struggling against finishing it. And why is that? And now that's the interesting part. I'm struggling to finish the task that I set out to do because I'm afraid of what will come afterwards. Because I don't know, right? I don't know what I have to do afterwards. Now, making these videos, I know already that I like it and I know that it works. And I'm afraid to move on. And that's also why some people are afraid to end a relationship because they don't know, you know, what's going to come afterwards. And now, of course, this could be the same thing for me with that woman I keep talking about. But yeah, I don't know, right? I mean, I don't know. I literally don't know. But it still may be that it's her. And if it's her, I mean, you know, why not just wait, right? So for me, right now, it doesn't really matter because at the moment, you can say, I don't really have a lot of time anyway, for a relationship that is. So until I'm ready, it doesn't matter anyway. Until I'm ready, you know, I'm not ready. And that's why, to me, I may as well continue now. I may as well continue now because that's what I set out to do. And what sense would it make to stop now that I'm almost there? And that's exactly where you're going to have the most trouble, because maybe that's the ego, or it's just fear or self-manipulation. You know, people have a lot of words for these things, like why does it happen? You know, what's bothering you? And then of course it may be that you're somewhat possessed by a ghost that's hindering you. And one thing that is good to always remember is that all of these things exist on different planes of consciousness. So everything is true at the same time. And that's what's sometimes hard to understand. But that's just how it is. Like, you're at the same time, it's your ego. And at the same time, it's also a possession. At the same time, it's also a trauma. And at the same time, it's also fear. So you see, it's just a myriad of reasons that you can give yourself, right, to not go through with it. So it's not about, the reasons why not to do it, or the reasons why you cannot do it, or the reasons why you don't do it. No. The only reason that matters is whether you do it or not. And whatever you tell yourself, what is the reason why I can't do it? Oh, I have diabetes. Well, why do you still have diabetes then? I mean, you could have worked against that, right? I mean, it's just your belief that you have to have diabetes because doctors have told you, that you're like type 2 diabetes and that's incurable. Well, that's very good for the pharmaceutical industry because, they want to keep you as somebody who buys their products because they don't care whether you live a good life or not, because they are already living a good life because you're paying their wages because you believe the shit that they've told you. So, right, it's for you to disentangle yourself from false beliefs that you have been told, or maybe even, as a child, somebody tells you you cannot do this because you're stupid, and you keep believing that. Well, that's your choice, right? It's your choice to keep believing that you're stupid instead of working on it, that you actually acknowledge your abilities that are very much unique. Like, every person has unique abilities because nobody has your experiences. Nobody has specifically like your parents, right? Nobody has that set of variables to start with. I mean, there may be similarities and you may sometimes feel like, right, there's some people that are quite similar to you, but nobody is really like you. So only you have the potential to unlock your hidden powers. And probably nobody will ever really do that for you. I mean, there may be people like me, when you're listening to this, people like me, it's not just me, there's just people like me who have taken it upon themselves, right, to follow their path to the degree where they realize, okay, I have to share what I have been told. Like, not everybody will have to do that. Maybe that's not your job, and maybe it is. Maybe your job is just to figure out, oh, okay, what do I want to do? Oh, I want to be, I don't know, whatever. I keep saying carpenter. Or maybe, I want to do something else. Or maybe actually I already like how things are, I just forget to see it. Maybe you're a family man, and you just needed to remember to live. And maybe you just needed to remember sometimes to make some decisions that are a bit selfish. Because that's important to do some of the things that you want to do, because you're not just the servant of your wife because she sleeps with you. And the same goes, of course, for women, because there are women who also really like to have a lot of sex, but that doesn't mean you can allow your husband to enslave you, of course, unless you want to be enslaved. I've never edited a picture to such a degree afterwards here. It's also new to me. At the same time, my mouse, which I need to do these things, I feel like, is flashing me the warning signal that the battery is going empty. And that's of course also partly a reason for me to hurry this, but you know, never let outside circumstances make you hurry, because that just turns you into an idiot, and that just makes you part of the mob, and the mob is ruled by emotions, and they don't understand that it's happening, and that's why they buy all these products they're being told to buy. And that's then also the people who just sit around laughing at videos instead of trying to understand what the video is telling them. Because you can watch, like, I could watch the same movie as you, and I would find higher wisdom in it, and you would just, you know, have a laugh at it. And of course, if that's what you want to have, you know, then continue to do so. But don't complain then if, you know, you're not getting anywhere with it. And that's why it's important to ask questions, especially questioning yourself. It's important. And that's also important, that nobody will ever give a shit whether you ask these questions or not. Nobody will ever give a shit whether you ask these questions or not. And that's just in the literal sense, that's not just metaphorically, it's just a fact. Nobody will ever give a shit if you ask these questions or not. And nobody will ever force you to ask these questions. I'm trying to encourage you to ask questions, but that's all I can do. I cannot do more than encourage you to ask questions. And therefore you realize that it's your responsibility to ask questions if you want to change, that is. And if you don't want to change, then don't blame other people that you are not changing, because that's what might happen, right? That's what might happen, that you start getting angry at the world and you forget to realize that it was your choice all along. And that's of course another part. Like, I could get angry every day at the things that I have or the things that I don't have, because right now it feels certainly like, you know, there are more things that I don't have than things that I have. And now right, it doesn't really make sense to get angry at stuff like this, because why? Like, what's the point in getting angry? It's just a waste of energy, and I've done that a lot. Like, I've just gotten angry at everything, and I just realized, you know, I don't really want to do that anymore, because I rather try to do something productive with my emotions than to just get angry all the time. And of course that's all the energy then that flows into my work. And it's important for me to continue also to do that. And yeah, sometimes I get angry. Like, for example, when I look at my YouTube channel and I have the feeling, you know, why are people still not watching this? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You know, why don't you acknowledge me? I get angry then. And then I realize, well, I mean, just continue. Like, be patient, continue. And don't let these emotions stop you from doing what you love anyway. And that, you know, now ending this because I'm afraid to end it, and because I'm afraid to take up a new challenge, would be really stupid. Because now I've set myself a task, and if I wouldn't end it, if I wouldn't finish it in the way that I set out to do so, then what would that mean? It would just make me feel really miserable. It would make me feel really, really miserable. I mean, why? Like, literally. Why is this thing working so much now? Like, I'm not doing more than I usually do. Actually, there's less open. It's just blowing away. See, that's just the reason for me to get angry. But is it? It's certainly disturbing me. See, today I'm just a bit on edge. And yeah, I can say all these things now, why I feel like this. But like, maybe none of these reasons is really the reason why I feel like this. And now the work somehow feels like fuck off. Like this morning I was lying in bed, and it wasn't that I just didn't want to get up. It was more like this is heavy struggling, I tell you that. Feeling like, I mean, right now I don't know why, and I don't know where this is coming from. But it's just this feeling of, you know, missing somebody. And sometimes it's just really overwhelming. It's just how it is. It's just really overwhelming. You know, sometimes the things that you want, but you don't have them, they're just overwhelming. And that's a tough one, really. It's really a tough one. Because they may just render you helpless in these moments, right? I mean, if you let these emotions get the better of you, I mean, it may make all the difference between reaching your goal and failing. And that's just a fact. Because how do you reach a goal? by being patient, and by being persistent, like you keep going. You know, it's like you want to finish that marathon, so you keep going. You know, you don't stop. And maybe your ankle is swollen or something. Well, are you going to let that, you know, make you stop or something? Right? I mean, that's what it means. I mean, some people, they just pull through, and others, they just give in. And then, well, you kind of choose what kind of person you are. Like, do you want to be the person that pulls through? Or do you want to be the person that gives in? And both is, you know, somewhat okay. It's just, if you're the person that gives in, then don't keep torturing yourself about that. You know, just realize, okay, maybe I'm somebody else than I thought I was. But then also you can say, okay, you know, next time, right? I'm going to try again. And I'm going to look at, why didn't I succeed? I'm going to look at, was I doing the right thing? Because maybe there's a reason why I didn't succeed. And maybe the reason is because maybe I actually didn't like what I was doing that much. And yeah, you know, I sometimes have these beeps. How would you explain that? It's like a beep, like beep in my ear. And every time that comes, I have the feeling I'm receiving a message. And sometimes I just fucking hate that. And the reason I really fucking hate that is quite simple. Because I'm trying to discern, you know, what's the message, you know, what am I missing? And then sometimes a voice comes alongside with it, which is probably just my own voice, but I think it's some kind of higher wisdom. And then that voice says something like, you're getting a call. Like yesterday I was laying in bed and it said, prepare yourself, you're getting a call. Like, fuck off, like, where does it even come from? Like, that's just sometimes wishful thinking, you know? Because I could have waited now. I could have stayed up all night and waited for that stupid call. But I just said, you know, fuck off, I'm just going to bed. Because also, it was making me feel miserable, you know? That's basically what I was doing in this moment. I was feeling miserable. But it was also me doing it, so it was also my job to realize that what I was doing at the moment was actually making me feel miserable. And that's, you know, that it's my job now to end it. To say, you know, fuck it. This is very unhealthy, and if I focus on getting a call, then I'm not focusing on other things. Then I'm focusing what I'm missing and what I think I need, instead of doing what I have to do, which is the hard thing, right? It's the hard. It's hard to do what you need to do. And sometimes, you know, you're just gonna be thrown a curveball, and then it's for you to manage to hit that anyway, because you believe in yourself that you can hit it. So yesterday I was in the kitchen, and my mom, you know, I was telling her about me doing all these videos. And that's why you have to pay really close attention sometimes if you talk to people about what you're doing, which I would sometimes, you know, rather don't do it. But you know, sometimes we just want credit, or we just want to share with another person. But you know, work with what they're giving you, but also realize, you know, what did I set out to do? Now, my mother said to me, oh yeah, isn't it going to be repetitive if you're doing all these videos in such a short time? I mean, at some point there's surely nothing to talk about anymore. And of course then I start to question myself, and then I start to think, okay, shit, I mean, am I actually repeating myself all the time? And then I think about it, and then I think, no, actually I don't think so. I think, no, actually I don't think so. I don't think I'm repeating myself all the time. But it is something that can throw you off. You do realize that, right? It's just somebody casually says something, and they have no idea what effect this may have on you. They have no idea what the effect is on you. They have no idea. And they're just still saying it. They're still saying it, and yeah, that can make you kind of angry, because you think, why would somebody say something like this? And that's the thing, that if that makes you angry, well, that's your homework, isn't it? If it makes you angry, then it's your homework. And that's just how it is. If it makes you angry, it's your homework. So you just go and find a solution for that. Because if you don't, it will stop you from finishing the goal. Which you could say, maybe nearly happened to me now. Because I was thinking this morning very heavily about, maybe I should do something else, right? Oh yeah, and then this voice is telling me, you should, what is this? Oh, you should do something else. Like, now you can finish the book, right? Finish the book is like a voice, like, why the fuck does that happen? It's just, sometimes it just makes me angry. Because where does these stupid voices come from? Like, seriously, just leave me the fuck alone. That's really what I want. Like, leave me the fuck alone. Stop telling me all these things. And that's why you have to manage to shut out those stupid voices in your head. Like, seriously, you have to manage that. Because if you listen to them, they will drive you insane. I guarantee you they will drive you insane. And sometimes I just get angry. It's just thoughts that you have anyway. And you think, why can't I just do what I want to do? Well, you can. You just have to keep doing it. And yeah, that's just the pain in the ass then, right? Because there are people who just submit to it. It's like, the golden shot. Right? You just want more and more heroin. And that's a bit like these voices telling you stuff. They just want to see. You're just being tested. And it's important that you pass the test. It's not about what you hear, it's about what you do. It's not about what you say so much. It's more about what you do. So, are you prepared to fight those demons? Or are you just like everybody else? Listening over and over to these voices telling you, to eat shit or whatever. And that just, it just may make all the difference. It may make all the difference in the world between success and defeat. Oh, and whatever you choose, like I said, go through with it anyway. You know, you've been defeated once, and so now you know how defeat tastes like. So what do? You continue. Or you try something else, of course. Like, I didn't know this picture would turn out like this. And do you hear me complaining about it? Do you hear me complaining about it? No. Why? Because I also chose to do it like this. It's my choice. It's my choice, and I could complain. I can complain about a lot of things. You know, if it would for just, you know, complaining, I could complain all day. I could complain that the weather isn't the way I thought it would be today, you know. Let's say you made a decision, today you're gonna make a video. Like, go check out my depression series and watch the video, brace yourself. I mean, I'm happy if I never have to do that again, don't get me wrong. But I did it because my feeling told me, you know, tomorrow you're going to go there. And then I woke up and the weather was absolutely shit. And I went anyway. And for a while, you know, my camera afterwards didn't turn on anymore. And I mean, that's a shitty thing. But then you just accept it. What do? You know, you don't worry about it. You know, if it would have broken, what would that have meant? Nothing. It just would have meant, you know, you're taking a hit. And, you know, at least make it count or something. And then, yeah, you look at what happened, and what have you left? Like, what is left? What have you left to work with? And then you just keep working with that. Just keep working with that, because that's what you got. And I mean, if you haven't got that camera anymore, well, then you can't work with it, can you? So what good is there complaining about it? I mean, it's like sulking because somebody died. I mean, of course you can sulk a bit, and you can be a bit happy about it. You could be a bit sad about it, but on the long run, like, what good does it do anyone? I mean, what good is it crying after some kind of girlfriend that left you? Well, apparently she left you. So what good is complaining about it? It doesn't help anyone. But it sure gives you a reason to be a lazy kind of fuckface. And if you need excuses, you know, there's all kinds of excuses. Don't worry about that. I mean, you're gonna have lots of excuses, and nobody's going to say in the end to you, poor you, because that's not how it works. So either do it or don't do it. And if you don't do it, stop complaining about it, because nobody wants to hear that. You know, nobody wants a failed hero. You come back from your hero journey and you've got nothing to report. Well, that's a bit shit then, isn't it? Maybe, you know, you didn't prove yourself. So what good is it? You know, what good is words? Right? What good is telling people all these things that you did? I mean, of course you can ask me that too. Like, what good is it if I talk about these things? Well, I just talk about it because that's, you know, what I do. It's just my job. So, of course, I could now also question, you know, why am I even talking, right? Am I just talking? But the thing is, I know I'm not just talking. I know I'm not just talking because I've done it. I know I've done it, right? I know I've done it. And I've created another painting which I really like. And now I feel like, you know, why even add this? Like, why even add it? Maybe just because I said I would, right? Maybe just because I said I would. And maybe that's just enough reason to do it. And if it's not, well, then don't do it. And that's just then your choice, like everything else. Whoa. What is that even? Seriously. This looks awesome. I've learned from my mistakes, so what am I gonna do now? Try to be quiet. What is this? So just what I want to say. When you look at this, it's nice, right? But this, it just adds this, you know, jungle feeling. And especially that one, because it just makes these flowers just look more alive. I actually think I know already which one I want. 'Cause this is just too dark in general. So why am I going? Because now, you know, you just keep going through the stuff and you keep looking and you're hoping for something better to come out. You know, I could have just left it the way it was, because I chose dodge. I mean, that's what I chose already. And you can check, okay, because this, I already liked it the first time I saw it, but I didn't like it, it's too dark. Et voila. I mean, and then you look at, okay, is it a bit too bright? Because you also still, right? And what I like is, right, it just creates this kind of, you still see the shape, but not really. Now now I'm starting with this one. I think this is okay like this. Plus it also always depends on the screen. So now if I put it here, yeah, this is colorful enough. So this is full, this is not so much. This is where it came from. Because you also want to keep the kind of the jungle look, right? And I think this is what it does. Okay. But yeah, also, I do always feel like, you know, this is doing something with my eyes. So now, for example, I don't feel like I need to keep this. That's just typical. Okay. The jungle of dogs. And that's also, of course, if you name a picture, you may also feel uncertain about it. So yeah, this is it, man. I like it. Just insane, isn't it? Anyway, so you keep doing that thing that you're doing. And then you just learn to be happy with it. And it gets easier along the way. And you say, hey, nice stuff that I've been creating here. Like, how did we get to that point, right? It's like, whoa, look at this. Look at this, like, whoa. Right, and then I can do this. And although I hide the camera, you know, I actually reveal it. I reveal what's hidden. So I keep going, because it's the jungle of my life. It's the jungle of my life. Anyway, thank you for listening. You know, still going strong. You know, I intend to finish. I intend to finish, and I intend to reach my goal, which is now 177 videos. And right, whatever your goal is, you just keep focused on it. And you remember the feeling when you had the goal and you wanted to accomplish it, and then you just keep focused on it. And you don't stop until you've done it, and that's the important part. Don't take too many things. That's why right now my focus is on finishing these videos in the best way that I can. So just keep going, and I keep going, and I keep going, and I keep going. And you know, all the heartache and all the, you know, I drank coffee or this or that, you know, it doesn't matter. It's just the struggle, it's the everyday struggle. Everybody has that, and it's just a matter about, you know, are you doing it or are you not doing it? So I'm doing it, although my father thinks, you know, I'm wasting my time. My mother just, you know, is just happy that, you know, I'm doing whatever. But I don't think anybody truly believes in me. And that's why I say, you know, I believe in myself, because if nobody believes in me, you know, I have to do that. Because, you know, it's my life. I cannot live their lives because they don't have an inch of faith in them. They don't know what faith is. That's why they have all these insurances. But that's not my life. My life is devotion, and, you know, figuring out how to be happy by myself, and hoping that, you know, everything will turn out the way that I kind of imagine it. And for that you have to continue until you're there, until it feels, you know, now it's getting easier. So you're paddling, and then you're sometimes paddling in some rapids. And, you know, that means in these times when you're in rapids, you don't have time to think about, you know, eating chips, and you don't have time to meet friends because you're in the middle of some rapids. And that's what I am now. Now I got used to paddling in the rapids. But if I stop paddling now, then I will crash. And that's why, you know, finishing that goal, 177 videos, that's the first time I got it right, is to me right now most important, because if I stop now, I will... And so you think you've reached your goal, and then you stop, and then you're fucked. So you only reached your goal if you reached the goal. And not, you know, oh, you know, now I have reached one goal. You know, you may feel like you have, you know, now suddenly you have worked yourself past the resistance. And then it feels easy. And because it feels easy, you kind of get drunk on that feeling, and you think, oh, it's so easy now, you know, might as well stop. Well, that's just the devil, man. And that's just your weak little shit that wants to slack off. But, you know, slacking off is tapping into sin again. It's the same thing I did most of my life, and I don't want to do that again, because now I realize, you know, working actually gives me something to do, whereas chilling, it didn't really do anything for me. It just, yeah, I mean, I don't want to be chilled, right, all the time, like cool and chill. No, I want to be like emotional. I want to like do stuff. I want to be active. I want to be like boom. And you only get that if you're an active part in the community, because when you do what you love to do, well, you love what you're doing, and then you're kind of filled with love, and then you can just continue. And that's what you should be aiming for. And now I'm aiming for ending this video. Peace out, and thank you for watching.